Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang.
And I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Isolation, depression, and substance abuse, the overlooked toll of a months-long pandemic. Concerning new numbers point to a growing mental health emergency.
Some days it's like the small things that will be the tipping point.
The pandemic's alarming impact on kids' physical activity.
They've noticed that kids are out of breath immediately.
WestJet slashes routes in Atlantic, Canada.
We can no longer maintain our full Canadian network of service.
So will they ever come back?
And after a painful act of racism, a resounding message of support.
Words can't describe it. Amazing messages that I've seen. It just really touched my heart.
This is The National.
Tonight, we take a hard look at the mental and physical toll of COVID-19.
Our kids are getting more out of shape, our state of mind strained, and women may be bearing the mental brunt of it.
In a major survey, nearly a quarter of women say they experienced moderate to severe anxiety compared to 17% of men. The same gender gap shows up in reports of loneliness. More women than men say they suffer from isolation. Katie Nicholson shows us those pandemic stress points that seem to affect women the most, and also how you might cope with them.
This is phys ed, and this is homeroom. And that means juggling a lot of roles for Amy Worrell.
Mother, teacher, lunch maker, gym teacher, spouse, and it just starts to get really tiring. And when you want to take a break, there's really nothing you can do to take a break because it's COVID.
Worrell's kids are doing virtual classes. Her husband is also working from home. She says on dark days, she's lucky he's there.
I pulled a crayon out of the washing machine today and I almost went into the dryer, and that almost was like it, right? And he's like, okay, take a breath, go to another room, because some days it's like the small things that will be the tipping point.
A survey on the impact of the pandemic found that nearly a quarter of women reported feeling moderate to severe anxiety, and roughly 30% of parents with children living in the home were more likely to report feeling depressed. The survey was conducted as Ontario's schools were reopening.
There was a lot of anxiety around children, what to do if you sent them back to school, what to do if they were kept at home, and how to juggle work and children.
This follows numerous studies that have shown women have been disproportionately hit hard by the pandemic, financially, professionally, and at home. Add to that the constant threat of COVID.
Psychologically, living in a pandemic is like living in an active war zone. And so if this was World War III, we wouldn't be expecting ourselves to be as productive or healthy as normal.
Amy has learned to cope in her own way by getting a job out of the house at this farm.
It's so fun and it fills me up, and I leave there at the end of the day without a care in the world, and sometimes with like a pie.
Peace of mind and sometimes a piece of pie. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now consider this. A few years ago, 39% of Canadian kids got enough physical activity to meet the bare minimum set out by national guidelines. The pandemic chopped that down to 5%. Ficadopia takes a closer look.
With an unusually quiet summer behind them, the fall just got more physical for these grade 9s.
It's really different in me. I haven't played lots of sports in a while, so it's really fun to be active again with my friends.
Don't bang that knee on the ground.
It's just as challenging for online gym teachers.
Come on, jumping jacks. How do we teach sports skills while you're standing in your living room and you don't necessarily have another opponent or a partner to play a sport with?
Getting students moving again has taken on new urgency. A recent survey found about 5% of Canadian children met basic physical activity guidelines during the early part of the pandemic. For teens, it was less than 1%. Schools are now dealing with the consequences.
So physical educators have reported back to me that the physical activity levels have been alarming.
So alarming, Canada's largest school board has told gym teachers to cancel fall fitness testing.
They've noticed that kids are out of breath immediately. So the lack of physical activity that's taken place over the last 7 months is showing.
Some children have still managed to spend more active time outdoors than others. They usually live in less densely populated neighborhoods.
So in other words, living in a house like mine as opposed to a 40-story apartment building in a downtown city was a protective factor.
What you doing, eh?
This obesity researcher says he worries about the long-term impact of inactivity on children's health.
And I think there's some things that we can do about it, that the messaging of stay home, which we're starting to hear again with wave 2, which is good messaging, but it doesn't mean stay inside.
So schools are trying to keep kids active outside for as long as they can. Vic Adopia, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, now let me bring into the conversation infectious diseases specialist Dr. Zain Chagla, because Dr. Chagla, we've just watched 2 stories about the impact of the pandemic on mental health and on physical health when it comes to children. So what concerns you most about all of this?
Yeah, I think it's simply that. Children are social beings. They need individual and group activities for their development. And we're coming up with a lot of ideas on what not to do, whereas we're not giving kids the room to do things that are important. Using virtual means is fine, but we also don't want kids staring at screens all day for their ways of interacting. And so I think as a society and as public health officials, we need to message to kids on how they can meet appropriately, how they can socialize appropriately in person, and really focus on that mental well-being as part of the target on top of COVID prevention.
Okay, right. So help us navigate that, because the tricky part of all of this is that there is a real patchwork, right, out there about what's allowed, what isn't allowed. I know some sports leagues outside of school that are still running. So as a parent, how do I properly make a decision between something like, I don't know, hockey at an indoor rink, basketball at a playground versus something else altogether?
Yeah, I mean, the same principles apply. I think the schools do it in a way that is very risk averse, and rightfully so. The outdoor leagues and the indoor leagues, I think, are doing it as best as they can with guidelines. But remember, it's each individual's group's choice to follow the guidelines, the letter of the law. We know things that are indoor, prolonged close contact are the highest risk, and especially when the masks are down. So those may be the activities you avoid. Things like outdoor tennis, outdoor running, or maybe the activities that you try to put your kids into in that sense. And then, just being careful about how they interact before and afterwards. Again, transmission can occur in the locker room and in the areas before and after the game. And so you really just want to go and then exit as normal.
Excellent points, all of them. Dr. Chagla, thanks so much for your time.
No problem. Take care.
Canada today detected more than 2,500 new cases of COVID-19. And while most of those came out of Ontario and Quebec, in other provinces, the picture is rapidly getting worse. In Saskatchewan, the average newly reported cases per day have launched upward, almost doubling in just the past 5 days. In Alberta, a steady, troubling trend of transmission has also suddenly jumped to a new level. And in Manitoba, over the past month, case rates more than doubled and then more than doubled again. So what is happening? As Karen Pauls tells us, the virus is just feeding off public fatigue and complacency, and officials are running out of options.
How are you doing?
Isabel Scribe calls her 72-year-old husband every day.
Do you see the doctor yet?
It's the only way she can keep in touch, because Charles Scribe is in isolation here at this long-term care home, the site of Manitoba's deadliest COVID-19 outbreak. 89 people are infected, 9 have already died.
It's pretty stressful, and I can't sleep, worried all the time.
Across the country, authorities are grappling with the rising numbers of infections and deaths. In Saskatchewan, concerns about the lack of physical distancing at bars and clubs.
I think then that is a high risk for transmission.
Inside the Atlantic bubble, New Brunswick has shut down close contact businesses, including hair salons like this one.
I'm really tired of the flip-flopping. We either close the border and allow things to operate as normal, or we keep our borders open and we shut everything down. We don't shut selective businesses down.
Some experts are calling for more aggressive action before an exponential rise in COVID-19 cases overwhelms the healthcare system.
We have to be proactive with this virus. We don't simply have a choice right now. So the longer you wait, generally the broader those restrictions are going to have to be, and the longer they're going to be and have to be in place.
Manitoba has already signaled broader restrictions may be on the way.
We are, looking right now on what further restrictions could help with limiting the transmission.
That can't come soon enough for Lisa Muswagon, who's afraid her father is running out of time.
Is he going to get sick? If he gets sick, what's going to happen? Are we allowed to be with him? Does he have to die alone?
Excruciating questions as the window is closing for any new restrictions to be effective. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
In Ontario, Toronto is among the hotspots that recently returned to targeted shutdowns. But an hour's drive away, fitness centers are still open. And Ontario's premier acknowledged COVID-19 loves a spin class.
Anywhere where there's a group of people and they're working out.
Hamilton, Ontario's SpinCo is the epicenter of a growing outbreak, linked now to 69 cases, including patrons, staff, and their close contacts. Officials say health protocols were followed.
People in Atlantic Canada are losing a major travel link to the rest of the country, all because of COVID-19. As of November 2nd, WestJet will cancel service between St. John's and Toronto and between Halifax and Ottawa. The airline is also suspending all flights out of Moncton, Fredericton, Sydney, Charlottetown, and Quebec City. Now, other airlines still service those cities, but choices are reduced. Jacqueline Hansen digs into what this means for travelers.
Breaking into or out of the Atlantic bubble will soon get more difficult.
The lack of travel demand, combined with domestic quarantines, means that sadly, we can no longer maintain our full Canadian network of service.
WestJet says the Atlantic bubble has obliterated demand. While largely seen as a public health success, there have been other consequences to keeping most travelers out and making others quarantine for 2 weeks upon arrival.
If they pushed that thought forward, they would have said, well, we might be shutting down our airlines.
For some residents, WestJet's service cuts are no surprise.
It's understandable that things are going the way they are because of COVID. Nothing else we could do.
Right now, I probably is the right thing to do. I don't think anyone is traveling.
Very few people are, so several airports in the region raised their user fees to help compensate.
This really was a last resort decision, and they have to find a way to generate some revenue to keep the lights on and the runways open for essential service.
But those higher fees are another factor cited by WestJet. The airline industry across Canada is waiting for help from the federal government. In New Brunswick, where WestJet will no longer fly, the Premier says a plan to bring that service back is urgently needed.
Not only a long-term view, what's best for New Brunswick, but also a short-term fix to have access.
But this professor expects the return of service to smaller communities to be slow.
Many of them were losing money or at best breaking even money, even in the good times.
WestJet says it is committed to returning to Atlantic Canada when the situation improves. Until then, passengers whose flights have been canceled will get a WestJet travel credit, but no refunds. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, weeks of tension between Indigenous and non-Indigenous fishermen became an angry confrontation at a Nova Scotia lobster storage facility last night. Kayla Hounsell shows us what happened.
It was perhaps the culmination of rising tension. The chief of the Sebeganegity First Nation at the center of an altercation after a disturbing 24 hours.
People could have died last night, which is, somebody's going to be held accountable, and we'll be taking further action.
This is a mob of people terrorizing.
Last night, 200 non-Indigenous commercial fishermen gathered outside a lobster pound. It's where some Indigenous fishermen had been holding their catch.
Cops just sitting there while they take all these crates up.
This Indigenous fisherman says he barricaded himself inside.
They said they won't let me leave unless they have my lobsters.
While the group outside destroyed lobster, threw rocks,
Almost got me in the head with it.
And vandalized vehicles.
They slashed the tires. I watched one guy pee in the driver's seat of my truck.
The Sebeganegity Band launched its own fishery outside the commercial season last month. The Supreme Court of Canada affirmed their right to fish for a moderate livelihood 21 years ago, but no rules were established as to how that should be implemented. That's led to standoffs on the wharf for weeks.
Our role essentially is try to keep the peace here.
But why has no one been arrested then?
We are taking the information and the evidence into account to make a judgment and a thorough investigation. We certainly don't go and arrest under emotion and for no reason at all.
But again, it seems that last night there were officers witnessing what you described as criminal activity, yet no arrests were made.
It's a measured approach.
By late this afternoon, a moment of calm.
Honestly. And if you want to reach out to me sometime and we can have a talk privately somewhere.
But still, the path to a resolution remains unclear. Kayla Hounsel, CBC News, Halifax.
Now, the Prime Minister has weighed in on all of this tonight, saying the acts of violence and intimidation committed in Digby County yesterday are unacceptable. And I join Fisheries Minister Bernadette Jordan in strongly condemning them.
Washington is now considering Donald Trump's candidate for the U.S. Supreme Court. These kinds of hearings are often a game of cat and mouse, with nominees trying to avoid betraying any partisan bias, and today was no different.
Do you accept that smoking causes cancer?
I'm not sure exactly where you're going with this. Yes, every package of cigarettes warns that smoking causes cancer.
And do you believe that climate change is happening and is threatening the air we breathe and the water we drink?
You have asked me a series of questions that are completely uncontroversial, like whether COVID-19 is infectious, whether smoking causes cancer, and then trying to analogize that to eliciting an opinion on me that is a very contentious matter, and I will not do that. I will not express a view on a matter of public policy, especially one that is politically controversial, because that's inconsistent with the judicial role, as I have explained.
Another exchange also getting a lot of attention tonight.
I got one last question.
Hope it's an easy one.
It is. It's a sincere question. I'm generally curious. Who does the laundry in your house?
Well, Amy Coney Barrett was non-committal on that question, saying they try to get their kids to do it. Amy Coney Barrett is expected to shift the court to the right. Her confirmation, seen by Democrats as a power grab, comes during a presidential campaign in its final push. With just 3 weeks left, Joe Biden holds a double-digit lead in the polls, something the Trump campaign is desperately trying to win back. As Katie Simpson reports, they are doing so with a strategy reminiscent of 2016.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
The president's direct approach in pleading with voters is revealing much about the state of his re-election campaign.
Suburban women, will you please like me? Remember? Please. I saved your damn neighborhood, okay? The other thing, I don't have that much time to be that nice. You know, I can do it, but I gotta go quickly.
With this, Donald Trump is acknowledging he's losing support of a key demographic, and he's running out of time to win it back. To do that, his campaign appears to be relying on his instincts, using rallies and rhetoric to motivate his base, which worked in 2016. Continuing with traditional campaigning in spite of the pandemic and his own family's experience with COVID, revealing his 14-year-old son, Barron, also contracted the illness.
Barron's fine, so thank you all very much, and I'm thrilled to be back.
While the president's handling of coronavirus is hurting his popularity, his campaign points to his rallies as proof he maintains healthy support.
You can't beat that energy. We feel it with the American people, and we're confident in our position.
Though Trump's cheerleaders, including the hosts of the president's favorite morning TV show, aren't fully convinced, asking why there are few prominent Republicans campaigning for Trump.
We've got all of the president's children deployed into the states.
He's going to have to adopt quite a few kids with 50 states and so many in play. I just don't know if there's any help planned.
Yeah. We've got help on the way, and we've got a lot of folks really eager to make his case to the American public.
The American public is eager to weigh in.
We just wanted to be here early to get it done and make sure our vote is counted.
Lineups for early voting have lasted for hours in some states, while requests for mail-in and absentee ballots have smashed records. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
So 20 days to go until voting day. There is a lot to talk about. Who are the candidates courting? Will Trump's case of COVID affect the campaign? We will get into it in about 10 minutes.
While the U.S. still has the most COVID-19 cases and deaths overall, Europe has overtaken the United States in one respect, according to the Wall Street Journal. Comparing cases to population, the European Union and the UK recorded an average 152 new cases per million a day, compared to 150 per million in the U.S. That's because of a new wave of coronavirus cases that swept most of the continent. With 22,000 new cases, France tonight declared a health emergency and imposed curfews in a bid to flatten its curve. And while the UK hasn't declared a nationwide shutdown, Renee Filipponi tells us some areas have gone ahead with their own restrictions.
The fun of spending time with classmates is about to be put on pause in Northern Ireland, as schools will be shut for 2 weeks. For parents without care alternatives, it's frustrating.
Nobody knows what they're doing, and they're just changing the rules every single day.
Northern Ireland now has the toughest COVID restrictions in the UK. The so-called circuit break unveiled by the First Minister today will also see new rules for hospitality.
We fully appreciate that this will be a difficult and worrying news for a lot of people.
It's a move some are pushing for in England. Strict nationwide measures over a short period of time.
Why are you ignoring the science, Prime Minister?
The Prime Minister was questioned today about why he didn't follow the scientific advice last month and impose a national circuit break.
I rule out nothing, of course, in combating the virus. But we are going to do it with the local, the regional approach.
That three-tiered approach unveiled Monday led to this scene in Liverpool. One last rowdy street party before new restrictions. Across Europe, governments are trying to prevent hospitals from being overwhelmed. The Czech Republic, which has the region's highest new infection rate, is making extra space available for COVID patients while putting in new restrictions. In Poland, people are warned to keep their masks on as the country hits a new daily record, with the virus surging in cities. And protests in Barcelona today over a move by the regional government to close all restaurants for 15 days.
Un couvre-feu qui va s'appliquer à la région Île-de-France.
But the most severe limitations came from French President Emmanuel Macron this evening. Paris and 8 other hard-hit cities will now be under a 9 p.m. curfew starting this weekend. Tonight, an entire continent seems to be bracing against a virus that keeps spreading. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
Well, police are investigating after an Ontario teen's loving yearbook tribute to his grandmother was replaced by a racist message. But today, an overwhelming show of support.
Speechless. It's so amazing, man. I'm so appreciative, so grateful for this.
Up next, a community lifts up Joshua Telemack.
As long as he's going to university, we'll look after the tuition.
Plus, inside the hybrid classroom, can a half-and-half solution to virtual learning work?
And a science lesson in our moment.
It's when the Mars goes and aligns with Earth and the Sun.
We're back in 2. A drive-by birthday salute today for an Ontario teen. Joshua Telemac turned 18 years old. This show of support was deeply meaningful to him and his family because of what happened last weekend. Now, a high school yearbook should be a treasured keepsake for students. But when Telemac picked up his copy, he was left distraught. His yearbook tribute to his grandmother had been replaced with a racist slur. Angelina King has that story.
Strangers, neighbors, and friends bringing cards, gifts, and support to Joshua Telemac.
Words can't describe it. It's amazing. Not everyone in this world is evil.
An 18-year-old who loves football and his family, overwhelmed by the support and surprised by a special gift.
And the Toronto Argonauts, we would like to award you with a full 4-year scholarship to the Canadian University or College. I'm so appreciative, so grateful for this, man. It's touched my heart. Hold your head high. Know that.
All this support after an act of racism. The message Telemac wrote in his high school yearbook was changed from a tribute to his late grandmother to a phrase referencing a gorilla that was shot and killed at the Cincinnati Zoo.
It really hurt me a lot due to the fact that I just felt like I want to give everything. I just owe myself to my grandma. I just wanted to leave an imprint, and then just to see that it just got changed to something vile. She motivated me to do nice things, just kind things, to just be humble and appreciate life for what it is. And it's just that she's my guardian angel. She watches down over me every single second. And I just know, I feel it. I feel that she's watching over me right now.
And now Telemac has even more people in his corner.
We're here to comfort him and support him.
St. Mary's Catholic School confirms other yearbook messages were also changed, but it's not clear to what extent. In a statement, the Durham Catholic District School Board says it's launched an investigation to determine the circumstances that allowed this to happen and the individuals who were involved. St. Mary's School and the police are also investigating. In the meantime, the school is recalling all of the yearbooks and says about 90% of them have already been returned. It's also vowing those responsible will be held accountable. In the meantime, Telemac has a message of his own.
Spread kindness and just show love to everyone. It could help someone a lot, as it helped me.
A birthday wish he wants everyone to hear. Angelina King, CBC News, Pickering, Ontario.
Coming up on The National, in Florida's retirement communities, a battle is on.
There are friends that are neighbors that don't speak to us anymore.
Politics gets personal as the candidates fight for the senior vote.
And with just 3 weeks to go until voting day, we check in with our political panel. Has COVID in the White House changed the game? Right after this.
Calling off the second presidential debate was
important.
Absolutely the right decision. Disappointing, but not surprising.
We need to make the case over the next several weeks of how dangerous Donald Trump is for America.
What I'm looking for is whether Donald Trump is able to really change the narrative of this election.
Donald Trump is the underdog, but that's a role that he's used to.
My name is Danielle Moody, and I am the host of the podcast Woke AF Daily. I am looking for a Biden-Harris win come November 3rd.
I'm Yascha Mounk. I'm a political scientist and a scholar of populism.
I'm Daniel McCarthy. I'm the editor of Modern Age. I'm a conservative Republican, and I'm hoping for Donald Trump to win.
All right, so let's bring them in, our U.S. political panel. Daniel McCarthy, Danielle Moody, and Yascha Mounk. So, surprise, COVID came calling to the White House, and now, obviously, there's no debate this week. So let's start then with the political impact of the last 10 days on the landscape. Yascha, what are your instincts on that?
Well, it was a little hard to predict because it obviously was a curveball, but by now we have some data in, and it looks as though Biden has continued to widen his lead in the last week and the last 10 days. And a lot of the reason for this is that Americans were already nervous about Donald Trump's handling of the coronavirus, and the way in which the White House has basically ended up hosting a super spreader event has made that more salient, has made people think Donald Trump is not taking this virus seriously enough. The White House is not taking precautions seriously enough, whether in its own operations or in the way that it has tried to combat it around the country.
And yet, Danielle, is it your sense as a Democrat that the fact of the president getting COVID changed something?
I mean, I honestly don't think that him getting COVID-19 changed anything. I think that there were hopes initially that he would take the virus a lot more seriously, that maybe he would talk about a national mask mandate or actually wear a mask himself on a regular basis, and none of those things have happened. But I do think that it was important that the debate was canceled because we need to model safety to the American people and to the world. And having Donald Trump be in person with Joe Biden and still possibly contagious, not a great idea, not even just for the former vice president, but for everyone. All of the tens of, thousands, and not tens of thousands, but tens of people that it takes to put together an event like this would all be at risk in an enclosed theater. So I think that it was important that it was canceled.
So talking about the former vice president, Daniel, as a Republican, is it your sense that Joe Biden navigated the last 10 days well or not so well? It's tricky to do when your opponent's ill.
Well, he had a very good news cycle. The fact that Donald Trump was ill was something that created new doubts for Americans. On the other hand, the president's speedy recovery is something that now may create a rebound effect on the president's benefit.
We have all long talked about minds being cemented at this point, but we also keep hearing the president being acutely aware of these key voters he needs to get. So let's have a little listen to him at a rally last night.
Suburban women, they should like me more than anybody here tonight because I ended the regulation that destroyed your neighborhood. I ended the regulation that brought crime to the suburbs, and you're going to live the American dream.
Okay, so Daniel, that's his case for the suburban women. And for the suburban women in your world, what are they weighing now about Donald Trump?
I actually think that right now the biggest news for Donald Trump regarding suburban women is coming out of the Amy Coney Barrett hearings, where we're seeing now by about a 17-point margin Americans favor the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett as a justice. And she is a great role model for married women, for mothers, and for women in general who want to see a woman on the Supreme Court who is going to be yet another highly accomplished justice, one of the leading figures perhaps on the bench in the next generation.
And do you think, Daniel, that will supersede any concerns suburban women might be having about Donald Trump?
I think it's something that will really reassure a lot of, especially Republican suburban women who've been a little bit wary of Donald Trump personally. The fact that Donald Trump is able to deliver on key concerns for conservatives, for Republicans, and for women is something that's actually going to redound to his benefit very well.
Okay, so Danielle, if Trump knows that he needs to reach out to suburban women, who is the group that Joe Biden must appeal to right now?
I think that Joe Biden is doing a great job appealing to everyone who is sick of living in chaos and anxiety and stress and sickness. and economic turmoil. Joe Biden isn't just signaling out one particular group, he's signaling out all Americans who are exhausted by this administration and frankly, sick, right? We have 8 million people in the country that are sick. While Donald Trump, thanks God for his COVID diagnosis, there are over 215,000 families that have had to bury their family members. And so I think that Joe Biden is doing a good job of reaching out to those people who are over a Trump administration and a Trump regime.
Wouldn't he have had them anyway?
I think that, the reality is that a lot of people were on the fence about Joe Biden. He wasn't the most exciting candidate. But I think that as time goes on and we see what we are up against, I think more and more people are not just voting against Donald Trump, but they are voting for a Biden-Harris ticket. And so I think that he's been doing a very good job of reminding the American people of just how stable, how thoughtful, how analytical he is, and what they are in for, what they would be in for in a Biden-Harris administration, which would be a lot of ease coming off of a climate of dis-ease.
So wanting to vote and actually doing it are always two different things. Yasha, we always hear that turnout is so key. And I think looking at the most recent numbers so far, 10 million people have already voted. This time in 2016, it was just perhaps 1 million. There's this temptation to say that means voter turnout will be huge. But is that what you read into it?
It's very difficult to tell in the middle of a pandemic. We just don't have the data from previous years to go by because the situation is so different. It looks as though a lot of people are enthusiastic about voting. A lot of Trump's most devoted supporters want to make sure he gets another term, but a very broad coalition of people is turning out to vote for Joe Biden. And certainly I think the early numbers suggest that there's going to be high turnout. But there's an interesting demographic story that I think the last couple of comments didn't quite tell, which is that there was a very clear story in 2016. So younger people of color voted for Hillary Clinton and older white voters voted for Donald Trump. Well, what's happened in the last 4 years is very interesting, which is that Trump has actually gained ground a little bit among younger voters and among people of color. And Biden has hugely gained among older voters, among white voters. And so actually, in some ways, the electorate is depolarizing a little bit by age and by race, which goes against the narrative we tend to tell. And it's a very interesting part of the story right now. If Biden wins, it's not because he's mobilizing the base. It's because he is winning back a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump in 2016.
All right, all of you, Yasha Monk, Danielle Moody, Daniel McCarthy, thanks very much. Maybe there'll be a debate next week. We'll see you if there is.
And more America Votes coverage right after this. The fight for the senior vote and how it's dividing Florida's retirement communities. Right after this.
I will not rest and I will not relent until all American seniors are safe. I love our seniors. I love our country.
As this careless, arrogant, reckless COVID response has caused one of the worst tragedies in American history. The only senior that Donald Trump cares about, the only senior is senior Donald Trump.
A war of words between presidential candidates over what has become an increasingly key demographic, America's senior citizens. Important in that fight is Florida, where both campaigns have targeted the senior vote. For decades, the state has mainly voted Republican, but Democrats are hoping that changes. Susan Ormiston is in Central Florida tonight.
Trump 2020, brother.
Golf cart politics.
USA, man.
All you need is wheels, a t-shirt, and an opinion. Strong, preferably.
I don't believe polls. I don't believe none of that stuff. They're all nuts. They're nuts. The only way Biden wins is if they steal it. They have to. It's the only way.
This is deep red Central Florida. Matches the upholstery.
Everybody might not like him, but the job he's done is fantastic. So we're happy.
Seniors here have gray power and they vote, pandemic or not.
Are you worried about COVID?
Do we look worried? No, I think he's done a fine job with COVID. You listen to Biden and Harris, and it's so easy to play the Monday morning quarterback. I would have done this. You wouldn't have shut the country down in February. Are you kidding me?
Vice President Mike Pence is on his way, so park the carts and in sweltering heat with a pandemic, fill a parking lot with people 55 plus. And why not dance? George and Bobby Edwards met on a dance floor in Georgia 20 years ago. They're still stepping out in their 80s. Their families used to be Democrat, but Bobby and George, they've switched.
They just want to make this a socialist country. They went off so far to the left, if you want to call it to the left, but anyways, they went so liberal.
Do you think he's going to win?
Yes,
He
yes.
definitely will win.
Yes, you know why? God has his hand on him. 4 years ago, the poll gave him no chance. A lot of money spent on the other side, and Trump won. He'll win again.
My fellow Americans, it is great to be back in the Sunshine State. It is great to be back in Trump country.
There's passion here, but polls show Joe Biden is chipping away at senior support, worried about their health care and Social Security.
And in Florida, that could spell trouble for Donald Trump. So his campaign has been flooding this state with visits in the last weeks of this campaign.
The Villages is fertile ground, an entire city built for retirees, lured by sunshine, conservative neighbors, and golf. But politics is the blood sport. Red, loyal, and true until 2020. A change. Biden! Democrats have found their voice. We're from the villages, vote Trump out! Issuing a chant challenge to others to boldly declare. Vote Trump out! Arlen Masalero, a registered Republican, has defected. We caught up with her and her cart later.
Politics used to be a part of your life, but it didn't consume your life. But now it seems like the thing to do in my Republican Party is to be angry and to put people down and to not be accepting of their views.
She felt that at a recent golf cart rally delivering early votes.
The parade stopped and this gentleman comes running out of the side street, waving both of his fingers, giving us the finger, calling us communists, saying things like, you just wait, you know, we can go lower. So that's what drove me out of my party, essentially.
In the Villages, Donna and Roger lost friends when they signed on to a video supporting Joe Biden.
Well, I don't blame Donald Trump for the virus. I blame him for his lack of action. Pretty nasty, fairly nasty, and I won't go into it, but there were words. There are neighbors that don't speak to us. There are friends that are neighbors that don't speak to us anymore.
Because of that ad?
Because of the ad, yeah. And the only thing I can figure is it scared Republicans because it's true.
I have a bunch of questions.
With just a few weeks left, Democrats are trying to chase down those shy blue votes.
Florida can make or break Trump. If Trump wins Florida, then Trump has a shot at winning the country. But if the seniors turn out here in Florida as expected and vote for Joe Biden, then Trump will not win.
Riding for Biden! Go Biden! Go Harris!
Senior voters in the villages are stirring up conventional politics. Arlen Masalero doing the rounds with her new political neighbors. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, The Villages, Florida.
Well, next on The National, inside the hybrid classroom, teaching half in person and half virtually. Does it work? Next. A Toronto area school board is scrapping its online learning program for elementary schools. Instead, it's going for a hybrid classroom where a teacher has both in-person and virtual students. Deanna Sumanek-Johnson now on why the change and how it's being received.
Do we turn the the assignment in, or do we have to do more?
No, hang on to it because...
Stephen Farrakane is now teaching 15 grade 5 students in person, plus another 7 online.
Online friends, if you have any questions for me,
The York Catholic District School Board moved to the so-called hybrid model today, largely out of necessity. As Ontario's COVID infections grow, more families demanding to switch to online learning, and there's not enough money to hire additional teachers.
It went okay, considering, it was our first day, but the remote students, they all showed up on time, eager to learn. They were so happy, and we were actually, so happy to welcome them back to our school.
There are other benefits, like students being able to tune in online if they're at home with a mild illness. That's according to the first school board in Ontario to adopt the model in early September.
We know that children and families may have to self-isolate for a period of time. And so I think our natural concern originated with the fact that we were unsure if we could keep children linked to the learning.
Where's our teacher?
But not everyone is a fan.
It's not fair to them. They are already going through what they're going through.
This mother, whose 2 boys started their hybrid classes today, says that this model actually relegates online students to second-class citizens.
There's no engagement. They cannot be engaged when they are looking in a best-case scenario at a teacher who's walking around the classroom, even if they could hear her or him.
She started a petition for the York Catholic District School Board to move away from the approach. Nearly 4,000 parents have signed it. Other boards are considering the hybrid model. The Dufferin-Peel Catholic District School Board, which was supposed to have its hybrid classes start on November 2nd, just changed its plans. While families will still have the option of having their kids attend in-class experience virtually, they can also just continue the online-only classes. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Next on The National, we have an assignment for you tonight. Head outside and look up.
When Earth passes Mars, that is when the opposition occurs.
Yeah, but first you're going to get a lesson from some young scientists. Next. Well, these two young space fans have stayed up past their bedtime this week in order to see something very special. It's called Mars opposition, when Mars aligns with the Earth and Sun. And for tonight's moment, we get a science lesson from two keen space experts.
It's when the Mars goes and aligns with Earth and the Sun.
Earth circles faster because it's closer to the sun, and Mars is farther. When Earth passes Mars, that is when the opposition occurs. So it happens every 2 years, but this one's a really good one.
It'll only become this bright next 15 years, and that's a long, long time from now.
Yeah, I've been watching it from the Allen I. Carswell Observatory live stream, and I've also been looking through it for this telescope.
I have a little telescope in my room with a little tripod, not the greatest Walmart special, but it's gonna look like a little red dot in the sky. Like a star before, not like the super bright ones where it's like the Disney star, but it's like, more of like a small red dot.
I find that it's actually really special seeing something like these.
A once in a lifetime opportunity. It feels so cool. Like, that feeling you get when you see something or do something like, I was here, this is amazing.
Well, those two boys are amazing. So their names are Tharon and Alfie. They both want to be astronauts. Alfie also wants to be a journalist, apparently. And I say the future is going to need some brave spacefaring journalists. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no kidding. And both of you, Tharon and Alfie, thank you for your enthusiasm. I think we all need a little dose of that right about now. That is a national for Wednesday, October 14th. Good night.
Good night.